So, I, like everyone else raised in Western Europe, have predominantly been introduced to the idea of an arranged marriage as something foreign, usually Islamic, and outdated. And I've been told that it's the equivalent to a forced marriage, which, of course, in some instances it probably is. But if you also couple that with my own general and stubborn predisposition to wish to decide things for myself, there was no real reason for me to ever consider the topic any further. However, now I've changed my mind. I've yet to have my own arranged marriage, of course, but I suspect it might be one of the best dating methods that we have. Because the other day, while listening to a friend recount his experiences on dating apps, it struck me how obvious it was that most of these matches wouldn't be a good fit for him. Despite his best efforts, choosing people who looked attractive or shared a few common interests, it became clear after hearing about their conversations and observing their personalities that these connections likely wouldn't last. It made me realize that many of us can intuitively sense who our friends would connect with or even fall in love with, but a dating app certainly can't. And truth be told, neither can we. Dating apps are inherently deceptive, of course, promoting the illusion of efficiency and endless choice. They suggest that the only reason we haven't found the one is because we haven't met them yet. The promise is that with access to a vast pool of potential partners, we can quickly and easily find someone who ticks all of our boxes. But the system is, of course, flawed in several significant ways. Firstly, the criteria that we use to filter potential matches on dating apps often have little to do with what makes a relationship work in the long run. It reminds me of those toy cars we used to play with as kids, complete with steering wheels and buttons, but ultimately completely useless for actual driving. These apps similarly give us the illusion of control, making us believe that we're inching closer to finding our ideal match. But in reality, this might not be the case at all, and in fact, it likely isn't that way. Take, for example, physical attraction. Yes, it's essential for sparking a romantic relationship, but it's only one tiny piece of a larger puzzle. Other less quantifiable aspects like emotional intelligence, communication style, or shared values are often far more critical for long-term compatibility with people, and these are things that an algorithm, no matter how sophisticated, can't fully grasp and thus sort for. And this is where I think traditional matchmaking or even arranged marriages offer an interesting contrast. Matchmakers like algorithms also sort through potential matches for you, but they do so with a human touch that algorithms lack. They can pick up on social cues, vibes, and unspoken dynamics that are hard to quantify but crucial for relationships. Like, sometimes when I meet someone, I just know that they'd get along with a particular friend. And if you held a gun to my head and asked me why that is, it would be extremely hard for me to really formulate a real reason for why, because it's not about looks or shared hobbies. It's about a deeper, almost intangible connection and sort of more of a holistic approach to who they are as humans. Another one of the most significant challenges posed by dating apps is the sheer abundance of choice, because at first this might seem like a positive. More options, of course, should mean a better chance of finding the right person, right? However, the reality is far more complicated. This overwhelming number of potential partners often leads to what's known as the paradox of choice, a psychological phenomenon where having too many options can actually make decision-making more difficult and less satisfying. In traditional dating scenarios, our pools of potential partners is naturally limited by geography, social circles, and chance encounters. And this limitation paradoxically makes the process of choosing a partner a lot more straightforward. We evaluate the options available to us, make a decision, and invest in that relationship. But when you're presented with an endless stream of profiles, each offering the possibility of something better, the process becomes paralyzing. The abundance of choices on dating apps can be overwhelming and create several psychological traps. First, decision paralysis, because it's difficult to choose, leading to endless swiping and indecision. A fear of missing out can kick in, making it hard to commit because you might worry that there's someone better out there, which often results in less satisfaction with any choice you make overall, as it's easy to wonder if another option would have been better. With so many profiles to sift through, people might rely on superficial criteria, overlooking deeper qualities that matter in relationships. And finally, the constant evaluation of potential matches can lead to burnout, making the whole process feel exhausting and unfulfilling. In the end, while dating apps offer a lot of options, they can make it harder to find and appreciate meaningful connections just by the sheer fact that you have access to everyone in the entire world, and that's overwhelming. And this, I believe, has only become more true the longer dating apps are around. In the beginning of dating app culture, there was an unexplored novelty to it, right? The risk associated were both serious, as it did attract, creeps, and it was still largely taboo. Nowadays, when I discuss being on the apps with people, there's a sort of collective apathy that has hit, because at this point it's the new normal and the novelty has worn out. What remains is just complete overwhelm and the same sort of anxiety you get after doom scrolling any social media app for long enough. And finally, there's the problem of convenience. In the realm of modern dating, convenience has become both a blessing and a curse. Dating apps are designed to streamline the process of meeting potential partners, making it easier than ever to go on a date. With just a few swipes, you can connect with anyone, exchange a few messages, and set up a meeting, all without much effort or emotional investment. And we take this for granted, I think, a lot, but just imagine how much more effort would go into asking someone out in a pre-digital world. Finding a way to approach them, maybe getting to know someone they know, or figuring out something about them through the grapevine that you could use to potentially connect with them. Every little step was, in today's standard, a lot of effort. But while this ease that we have access to today might seem like a positive development, it actually poses a significant problem, which is the removal of any friction. Friction in the context of human relationship refers to the challenges, obstacles, and emotional risks that naturally arise when forming connections with others. These elements of frictions are not just incidental, they are fundamental to building meaningful relationships with anyone. Because studies have shown that people tend to bond more deeply when they meet in challenging or unusual circumstances. For instance, research has demonstrated that a couple who first meet on a shaky or unstable bridge report feeling more attracted to another than those who meet on a stable one. The heightened emotional arousal created by the challenging environment amplifies the sense of connection. Dating apps, however, are designed to eliminate any such friction. They create an environment where everything is smooth, easy, and largely risk-free. It's easy to get a date, it's just a numbers game. You can go on several dates a week with minimal effort, and if one connection doesn't work out, there's always another one just a swipe away. But it's precisely this lack of friction that has profound consequences. One of the most significant drawbacks of frictionless dating is that it can stunt our own personal growth. In traditional dating, rejection is a natural part of the process. It's not easy to approach someone in person, express interest, and then face the possibility of being turned down, of course. However, this experience, though uncomfortable, is crucial for personal development. It teaches resilience, self-awareness, and empathy, while on dating apps, the sting of rejection is often dulled. Rejection comes in the form of a lack of response or a ghosted conversation, impersonal and easily shrugged off. And as a result, I think people are less likely to develop the emotional skills needed to navigate real-world relationships, where vulnerability and the risk of rejection are unavoidable. Another consequence of convenience in dating is that it can make interactions feel less significant. When it's very easy to arrange a date, it's also easy to take that date for granted. The ease of obtaining something often diminishes its perceived value. When you know that you can quickly find another match, the effort and emotional investment that you put into each individual interaction decreases. This can lead to a sense of detachment where dates feel more like casual encounters than meaningful opportunities to connect. This detachment is compounded by the fact that dating apps reduce the complexity of human interactions to a series of superficial judgments based on looks, a few lines of text, or a brief chat. The convenience of swiping through profiles and filtering potential matches by specific criteria fosters a mindset where people, I think, are seen as disposable. If one date doesn't immediately spark something special, there's very little incentive to dig deeper or give the connection a chance to develop. And perhaps most importantly, the convenience of dating apps fosters an environment where it's easy to lose sight of what it takes to build a deep, meaningful connection with someone. Because forming a profound bond with someone typically requires time, effort, and shared experiences, often involving some degree of challenge or vulnerability. Yet dating apps create a scenario where it's absurd to expect such depth after something as trivial as sharing a drink or exchanging a few text messages. In the frictionless world of app-based dating, the traditional markers of a relationship, shared struggles, emotional investment, and the gradual building of trust are often bypassed in favor of quick, easy encounters that sort of fulfill an emotional need of ours. And this can lead, I think, in the long run to a sense of emptiness or futility, where relationships feel shallow and fleeting rather than significant and lasting. So in conclusion, while dating apps offer unparalleled convenience, they do so at the cost of the friction that is essential for building meaningful relationships. By removing the challenges, risks, and emotional investments that traditionally accompany dating, these apps create an environment where interactions are less significant, personal growth is stunted, and the expectations of deep connections become increasingly just simply unrealistic. To truly connect with others, we may need to embrace the very friction that dating apps have worked so hard to eliminate. All in all, my point is that the lack of success many of us experience while using dating apps has highlighted some of the most pressing illusions of our time, particularly the belief that we have complete agency in making the right choices about our ideal partner. Philosopher Slavoj Zizek has critiqued this aspect of our liberal world, where we're not only convinced that we have numerous choices to make, but also that the choices that we make, such as selecting a partner based on specific criteria, are accurate and well-informed.
On the other hand, are we aware to what extent, when we freely choose, our choices are predetermined?
But let's take a moment to reflect on this idea. If you consider your close relationships with your friends, it's unlikely that you consciously crafted an ideal image of a friend, listing all the criteria they should possess, and then went out to try to find someone who meets those exact criteria. Sure, you might value traits like honesty, loyalty, and ambition in your friends, and maybe some of them have those qualities. But often we form deep connections with people who defy our preconceived notions of what we think we want. For example, you might have a friend who lacks ambition but brings a calming presence to your life, providing a type of support that you didn't even know you needed. And this points to a fundamental truth. We often don't know what we truly want in relationship, whether it's friends or romantic partners. Our understanding of our own desires is incomplete, shaped by societal expectations, personal biases, and even the algorithms that now play such a significant role in how we meet people. These factors can cloud our judgment and lead us to believing that we know exactly what we're looking for, when in reality, we're often operating with blind spots. Ironically, the people who already love us, our friends and family, might have a clearer idea of what we need in a partner than we do ourselves, because they see us more objectively, understanding our strengths and weaknesses without the same emotional attachment that can cloud our own judgment. This is where my defense of arranged marriage comes in. Arranged marriage is love creating more love, because those who care about us can see our blind spots and recognize the qualities in others that could complement us, even if we can't see them ourselves. In a sense, our loved ones act as matchmakers, not by finding someone who meets a checklist of criteria, but by recognizing the deeper, more subtle dynamics that make a relationship work. They might see, for example, that while you value ambition in yourself, you thrive in the company of someone who brings a balance and calmness to your life, qualities you might overlook if you were searching on your own. This suggests that our ideas about what makes an ideal partner are often more limited and less accurate than we'd like to believe. Dating apps, however, exacerbate the illusion that we can accurately predict what we want. They encourage us to filter potential matches based on specific traits, leading us to believe that by doing so, we're narrowing it down to our perfect match. But this process is inherently flawed because it's based on the assumption that we fully understand our own needs and desires to begin with. In truth, some of the most meaningful connections we form come from unexpected places, with people who might not fit the mold of what we thought we were looking for. So the lack of success that many of us are experiencing on dating apps is not just a reflection of the challenges of modern dating, but also a symptom of a larger issue: the illusion of choice and the misguided belief that we can accurately determine what we need in a partner, and that if we only have that control, we would live in a more happy and successful reality. And that those who know and love us might have a clearer view of what we truly need. We can begin to approach relationships, I think, with a lot more humility and openness to whatever is unexpected.